Woj with the latest on the Lake Show. University of Michigan coach Juwan Howard recently declined interest in the Lakers head coaching job, electing to remain at his alma mater, where Howard will coach his two sons next season, sources telling ESPN. By the way, that's so cool. The Lakers have a finalist of candidates here: Milwaukee Bucks assistant Darvin Ham, Golden State Warriors assistant Kenny Atkinson, and former Portland Trail Blazers coach Terry Stotts. That also according to Woj. The Lakers are expected to conduct in-person interviews in the near future. They never made a formal offer to Howard, but it's clear that if he had clear interest in the job, his candidacy would have moved quickly to that stage. Stephen A.
Yep.
Do you like any of these candidates for the Lakers job?
No, I do not. But it has nothing to do with any of them. All of them deserve to be head coaches in the NBA. I have a problem with them being a Lakers head coach. In the case of Atkinson and Stotts, I don't think that they would resonate well enough with the players. You have to remember that in the case of Atkinson, he was known as a developmental guy, a guy that really built up players and really was building something in Brooklyn before they let him go. In the case of Stotts, he had 9 years in the NBA in Portland as a head coach. They got to the conference finals once, I believe, and you didn't hear anybody raving about him at all. Not to say that he doesn't know his X's and O's, but again, to me, when you're that head coach, you've got to be a leader of men. You've got to be somebody that's capable of galvanizing the troops and getting ready and being able to peel max effort out of them. I don't like that for the Lakers. In the case of Darvin Ham, I believe in this brother. I believe he's ready. I believe he's prepared. I think that he'll do a hell of a job. I was listening to Doris Burke this morning with Keyshawn Max and Jay Will, and she was saying as much, and I completely concur with her, along with Jalen Rose, who spoke up highly about Darvin Ham. And I know Darvin Ham myself, and I think that, he has the potential to be a great head coach in the NBA in the very near future. But I have my questions about the Lakers and what they will do when it comes to a coach. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt, because we all know how I feel about Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka. You got some making up to do because of some of the choices that you've made over the last couple of years or so. It's got to be a coach with cachet. You can't tell a coach when to play players. You can't tell them whether or not they can sit a player down or anything like that. It's got to be a coach that has some degree of cachet. If they have the cachet, then that's different. I don't see them giving that to a first-year coach like Darvin Ham. And that's why I'm reticent about him. I have no questions about his capabilities as a coach in terms of knowing what he's doing. And when he goes up in there, he'll have a game plan and he'll try to execute it, et cetera, et cetera. But are you, as an organization, really going to hand the reins to a guy in his first time ever being a head coach and coaching the Lakers? I'm just suspect about that. I think it needs to be an experienced coach with cachet that you can't push around.
But who is that candidate right now?
Me personally, I would think Doc Rivers or Mark Jackson.
Okay.
Or Jeff Van Gundy. And I know Jeff Van Gundy probably wouldn't take that headache. Jeff Van Gundy is living a very good life, and he's like, I ain't got time for no headaches. That's Jeff. That's what he strikes me as doing. Yeah. Doc Rivers loves L.A. If he wasn't in Philadelphia, obviously Philadelphia kept him, so they want compensation for his services, and I don't know if the Lakers have that to give. And in the case of Mark Jackson, I think this is a guy that I don't give a damn what people are saying. There is no excuse for a guy who did the job in Golden State that he did to not have one single head coaching job offer since he's departed from Golden State. I think that's incredibly inexcusable and alarming.
I agree with that, the point about Mark Jackson. He definitely deserves another head coaching job. And we talk all the time with players about fit and how fit matters. And I think this is an example in the coaching ranks about how fit does matter. And to that point as well, timing matters. Like, I don't think this was the right time for Juwan Howard. He's getting to coach his sons. He's at his alma mater. He's going to have his choice of head coaching jobs in the NBA should he go down that route at any point in time. But you've got to choose the right one. It's got to be the right timing and the right fit. And on your points about Terry Stotts, who I think was one of the most underrated coaches during his tenure with the Trailblazers, consistently got that team to overachieve, consistently got that team to the playoffs. Kenny Atkinson did a great job building the culture there. Probably wasn't a great fit with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So that's probably not going to be a great fit with LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. You have to be able to deal with big egos and star players. The guy, look, if it's not going to be Mark Jackson, to me, I like the idea of hiring Darvin Ham. Number one, he's played in the NBA. There's a cachet that comes with that. He's been part of developing players in Milwaukee. He's been part of championship teams in Milwaukee. He has a great experience doing that. And he's got a personality. I think you need a personality if you are going to coach star players.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.